Hey guys, Whitney here. Welcome to the Passive Investing Made Simple Bootcamp. We do this bootcamp series once a month to help you build vital skills. That way you can go into your first or next passive real estate investment with confidence. Now, this differs from our masterclass where we're talking about just various topics, some of which may or may not apply to you depending on your investing journey. Our boot camp series, we focus on topics that you as a passive investor must master in order to either go into your first investment or to scale your investments. Because as we're going to learn today, the team that got you to where you're at today is not going to be the team that gets you to where you need to go tomorrow. So, as always, I just want to, bring to you guys, make sure to check out passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. There you're going to get notifications of all of our future masterclasses, boot camps, and you can see our open deals. And if you would like, you can jump on a phone call with me one-on-one and we can discuss your passive real estate goals and how we can help you achieve those here. All right, so today we're going to talk about how to build your passive investing dream team. Now, no matter where you are in your passive investing journey, this is something that you are going to have to do. I think a lot of the passive investors really kind of start off trying to figure out how to, tackle legal, tax, how do I build my self-directed IRA strategy? They try to do all these things on their own, but really we need to learn the importance of building a team as a passive investor because you're going to go further faster with a good board of directors around you. Now, there are a lot of different, strategies to building your dream team, but we are going to learn the must-have team members that every passive investor should have on their dream team. These are numbers that you should have in your phone. You can, call at will. That way, when you have a deal in front of you, you know who you need to consult with in order to clearly understand if you should go forward with that deal or not. Okay, and then we're going to tackle at a very high level, like how can you vet these team members? What should you be looking for? Okay, because again, the team that you probably started off with, especially if you're new to passive investing, is not going to be the team that is going to grow with you. So how do we know that they're the right fit? Now, if this is the first time you and I are meeting each other, again, welcome. My name is Whitney Elkins-Hutten. I'm the Director of Investor Education here at passiveinvesting.com. And this is the whole reason why I invest in passive real estate. I love to travel. I love to spend time outdoors. If you're trying to find me, I'm running a trail, climbing a mountain biking a mountain, you name it. I'm out in the woods. And so, but this is the whole reason why I do it. I've scaled a portfolio since 2002 that has allowed me this time freedom and choice on how to spend my time. Okay. I love working. I love spending my time with you. I love spending, creating impact in the world and teaching investors on how to do the same things that I have done. But again, these numbers that you see here on the screen, if you're watching on video, my husband and I, we scaled 6,500 residential units, 2,200 self-storage, and multiple other businesses. And those all are just kind of like vanity metrics. But it's the thing that the focus that we've had is that everything needs to be able to give us 100% choice on how we spend our time. It's not that we don't put time into our passive investments, okay? We have active investments that we're very active in, we spend a lot of time in. But our passive investments, we want to be active investors in those passive investments, okay? We want to make sure that they are meeting our goals, our risk, our timeline, and that we are vetting them appropriately to make sure that they are going to feed this number one goal of ours, that North Star, which is that eventually that investment is going to give us 100% control and choice on how we spend our time. And if you're new to passiveinvesting.com, we can help you do that here with our array of debt and equity investments. We've deployed over 308 million through our Rehab Wallet lending arm. You guys, we have our debt investments open right now, so make sure to reach out to me if you'd like to talk to me about those. And we also have some equity opportunities as well. Now, today's video, we're not going to get into tax, legal, financial advice. We're going to keep it very educational, but at any point in time in any one of the master classes or webinars, make sure to take the information that I am giving you, treat it as education and make sure you take it back to your team before making an investment decision. All right. Now, the point of the boot camps is that you and I get to kind of workshop this skill together. Okay, so if you're listening in on audio or on YouTube later, make sure that you're like pausing the video and doing the work alongside, because the goal for you is when you finish this video, you have a clear understanding of where you're at in this particular skill. And in the case of today, how do we build our investing dream team? You have a clear understanding of what you need to do to close these gaps. Okay. And that way you can like drop these things into your to-dos, your action plan for the week, and you can get these gaps closed. So I want to always start off with like, what is it we're talking about? Who are these dream team members? Okay. Now, for those people who are here live, go to your chat box and let me know, who do you think should be on your investing team? Who do you currently have on your team? So 2 questions. Who do you currently have on your investing team? And where do you think you have gaps? Okay, or areas that need to be closed? And I'll hang out here and wait for some answers, because again, this is always so much more fun when we're participating in it together. Okay. All right. So somebody chimed in accounting. We got accounting, CPA, accounting. I don't know if that's what you have or what you need. But I will say that's where most investors struggle, is that they actually have an accountant initially, and then they realize their accountant isn't that good at handling passive real estate. Okay, so that usually is one of the first team members that we have to kind of close the gap. And we're going to talk about that today. What other team members do you feel like should belong on your team or that you need on your team? Somebody said, that's why we're here. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I will go ahead and like move forward with today's presentation. Okay. Well, the whole point of having an investment team is so you can make sound investing decisions according to your goals and your needs. Okay, this is where it gets really difficult sometimes, especially whenever I'm in, I'm a member of several real estate investing groups, passive investing groups, and people are sharing their team members, their lawyer, their accountant, their CPA. And that's fine. Okay. That's better than sharing your investing thesis with each other and your due diligence checklist. But then what we need to do is make sure that that accountant or CPA or that lawyer is actually meeting us where we're at in our investing goals. That's flaw number 1. Sometimes we get a CPA that's too skilled or not skilled enough that it's behind us, or a CPA that is somebody that we'll probably hire in like 10 or 15 years after we've doubled our portfolio a couple times. All right, so make sure we're putting together the team that's going to help you make the sound investing decisions for where you are at according to your goals in your portfolio. Okay, putting together a team now versus trying to scramble and put together a team whenever you like absolutely need them and have an investment in front of you. This is going to keep you from making rash decisions. All right. This team actually, while they sometimes are costly, this is an objection I hear from a lot of investors. They're like, I don't want to get a CPA or lawyer. I'm going to learn it all myself. I should understand it, but I'm going to save some money by doing my taxes myself, or I'm going to save some money by trying to look up all the legal caveats myself. Okay. The thing is the team is meant to help protect you from yourself, protect you from all the nefarious things that could go wrong. But at the end of the day, they should make you money, especially on that accountant side, the financial mentor, financial educator side. Okay. So your team at the end of the day should make you money. I will tell you, I used to try to do my taxes myself several years ago, about a decade ago. I tried to do all my taxes myself. The first year that I hired my accountant full time, she made me like $30,000. She did it way better than I ever could. All right. And then this team should help you hedge against risk. Okay. We got our buddy here, Warren Buffett. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. All right. So we have 4 major rules that we absolutely should have on our team. And then there's a fifth that I want you to take a look at. But the number one rule here is the person who's going to help you understand what your goals, risk, and timeline are. Now, this is the financial expert. I encourage you, on some sort of level, you may need to become the initial financial expert, because a lot of us that are getting into passive investing are transitioning from stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. And so it's really difficult as we get into this passive investing, alternative investment world, is to find an outside fiduciary expert that understands this world. Okay, that really can help guide us. Okay, there's a lot of financial coaches out there. I work one-on-one with some investors as well, but that is that's where if you have to kind of fill in the gap and kind of like put your CEO and COO hat on both at the same time, this is going to be the place. Don't learn the tax code, don't learn everything about legal. Learn how to construct your goals, your risk, your timeline. Okay? Because this may be you. Again, you can hire it out, but you want to make sure that you flex the muscles, you build the muscles to be able to analyze your current financial situation, set those investment goals, develop that plan to actually reach the goals, and then monitor your process along the way, your progress along the way. So some questions that I'm going to leave you with to kind of kickstart this, and I'm going to give you a minute to kind of workshop these, is understand, like, what do you want and why do you want it? Okay. Because that is going to point us in the right direction on like how active you should be in your investments. Okay. What kind of investments? Somebody might say, I want cash flow coming in like 10 grand a month. Another person says, I want to build a net worth of like $10 million. Those are going to be two different sides of the coin as far as investing. So first question, what do you want? Why do you want it? And then the next question after there is like, what is your timeline? What is your investing for horizon? Okay. What we're trying to do here is create alignment in your investing. Okay. I do a whole webinar on how to design your goals, your risk, and your timeline to really look, pick apart these questions in detail. We're doing it pretty quickly here, but is your horizon, are you closer to retirement and you need to build up some like equity really quickly, which can be super risky, or you need to start investing in income streams now, like you only have like 5 or 10 years? Or are you younger, maybe in your early part of your accumulation phase, like in your late 20s, early 30s, and you've got plenty of runway to scale that? Okay. Where are you in your timeline? Because that's going to inform the type of risk that you might need to take in order to reach your desired either income or equity goals. And that brings us to our third question that the expert should be able to, help you answer is like, what kind of risk are you willing to take on to hit that timeline? What I often get is somebody that is in their like mid to late 50s that is retiring in 5 to 10 years. They have all of a sudden realized that the stock market's not going to get them there. And they're only halfway to their equity goals, and they want to, hit this huge equity growth timeline, but they don't want to take any risks to do it. Okay. So again, we got to figure out what that alignment is, because there's so many different ways, so many different paths in order to hit your goals. The ideal situation here with understanding, putting this financial expert in your dream team, is for you to become proficient yourself at this. Okay. You can still hire this out, but you should still own this area. Okay. This is what most people who are investing in stocks, bonds, and mutual fund, they don't own it. They're outsourcing, they're abdicating their decisions here. So be proficient in this area. And if you engage with a financial advisor, ensure that they're on, in only a fee-only position, that they're not selling you investments, and they fully understand real estate and private placement. All right. Our dream team number 2, go to the chat box. Let me know, are you struggling in this area? Are you struggling with trying to find a lawyer? Okay. Because the legal expert, for a lot of people, what they expect when they engage a legal expert is that they want the lawyer to give their blessing on an investment, saying, yep, I read everything, this thing's good, it's golden. And that actually is not the lawyer's job. The lawyer's job is to find a million different ways to say no to an investment. So we need to make sure when we are looking for this legal expert on our team, that that legal expert can fulfill their duty to you, which is to find a million different ways to say no to a particular deal. But at the same time, they can help you suss out the risk so you can get to a yes. All right. And that's usually the disconnect that I find that most investors have, is that they get a great lawyer, a securities lawyer that's very informed, that will take a PPM, they'll redline all the legal documents, and they'll say how this doesn't protect them at all, but they never help the investor put the risk in context on, are they actually going to happen or not? Okay, and help that investor weigh the risk to be able to get to a yes. All right. But let's put it, what is the legal expert, when you pay them, what are they supposed to do here? They're supposed to review all the legal documents. We call this the PPM. Okay. Remember, that's the combination, the operating agreement, subscription agreement, and the private placement memorandum. And they are to look to make sure that it's legally sound and the terms are in your best interest. Here's the thing. Okay. Every lawyer that I know will make sure they're going to find a million different ways to say no to any sort of passive investment. Okay. They're also going to make sure to review your personal legal structure and advise you on how to hold assets. Okay. This is one reason to engage the lawyer up front, is because they can actually help you structure your legal structure in such a way that you're not only getting bottom-up protection, which investing in private assets actually gets you, but also the top-down protection. Just because you go into private placement, maybe you titled that private placement to your name. Maybe I invested in a car wash deal and I put the title to the car wash deal in my name. The car wash deal is going to have, particular legal protections to where if something happened on the car wash, I'm not going to be held liable. But if I am a jerk and I go out and get in a car wreck, that's my fault. Okay, that the legal expert should be able to help you organize your affairs. That way you're not losing those assets from a top-down attack. All right. The legal expert should also be somebody kind of in your back pocket to help you settle any sort of legal disputes, whether it's within your own legal structure or if there's some sort of like outside attack here. And then the ideal person here, okay, ideal legal expert, it's not your buddy, it's not your lawyer, your regular lawyer, it's not your estate planner, it's not the person that put together your will or your trust. You're going to look for somebody separate who has a background in securities law and ideally works very closely with tax law as well, because we want them to have an understanding of both. Now, maybe they don't have a background in tax law, but their legal firm is attached to or works in very close partnership with the tax firm. That would be cool. Okay. Now you're probably going to pay $300 to $600 an hour for this type of consulting. So remember, they're not necessarily the ones that are designing our, living will, powers of attorney, durable powers of attorney, stuff like that. They're not the ones that are writing our will or trust. This is going to be a separate type of legal expert. Right? Expert number 3 that we need to have on our dream team is the tax expert. A lot of investors I know, they try to figure out all the ways that they can leverage taxes because they're still probably doing their taxes themselves initially. But that's not necessarily the thing that we want them doing. We want that investor focusing on their goals, their risk, and their timeline. Let's let the legal and tax experts do their job. Okay. So tax expert, we want to make sure the tax expert has a background in real estate and in business, okay? And ideally both, because that's essentially what a private placement is. It's a business that holds a piece of real estate. We want this person ideally to be somebody who's very proactive with tax strategy, planning, and ideally that they're not, roping you in for a subscription. Say like a, $10, $15, $20,000 a year subscription to their services. Okay, we want, and at least initially, somebody who you can pay like on an hourly rate, maybe like $300 or $400 to help you think through your tax strategy. And again, bonus points if they work really closely with the legal group, because now you get synergy and alignment between what you're being told on the legal side and on the tax side. Okay, because if you invest, say, like through an LLC, that has legal and tax ramifications. Okay, the lawyer is only looking at through it for the legal ramifications. The tax expert's only looking at it for the tax ramifications. We want to make sure that we have alignment there. Okay, but that tax expert, their base responsibility is that they're going to be reviewing investing, your current investing plan, your current holdings, and they're going to be able to take your K-1s to minimize your tax liability. Okay, so they're going to be able to use depreciation, accelerated depreciation, bonus depreciation, 1031 exchanges to kick your tax can down the road, and they're going to help you maximize profit. Okay. They should take a look at your legal structure. This is why we want them working in tandem with your lawyer. Okay. And maybe your law firm and your tax firm are two different entities, but you could pay one time a year to get both people on the phone, review your strategy. Okay. And now everybody's fully aligned. Okay. That would be awesome. Okay. It's bonus if this tax expert actually completes your tax return during the year, but it's not necessary. Okay. Your tax expert, your tax strategist can be different than the accountant or the enrolled agent who actually completes your returns. Okay. Because what that tax strategist can do is they can lay out the entire plan of why we're doing everything the way we are, what are the different things that we need to, watch out for, and they can hand it over to the CPA who is simply just filling out forms. All right. So we talked about the financial expert, legal expert, tax expert, okay? We're down to, some other, positions on the team that are kind of nice to have, especially if it fits your investing portfolio, but not necessarily a requirement. So if you have retirement dollars to invest, you need a retirement expert, okay? And ideally, this is going to be a self-directed IRA custodian, okay? And this custodian's job is to review the private placement documents to ensure that they are compliant with the self-directed IRA rules or the IRS rules, regarding retirement plans, all right? They aren't going to give advice. That's not their role. Retirement expert, their advice, their role is not to give advice on if this asset is a good asset to invest in. They're simply looking at all those documents, the operating agreement, subscription agreement, and the private placement memorandum to make sure they are compliant. The cool thing about your custodian, we also want to make sure that they have a good schedule in place to keep you compliant on all your timely tax filings. Now, I also look for a self-directed IRA company that will actually complete these forms for me for a fee. Like, they're not going to do it for free, but I could pay an extra fee and they can complete it for me in case they need a little bit of time, say like if I'm time crunched. Now, ideally, we want to be with a custodian that has a proven track record of, guarding or custodian money, okay? We want to make sure they have an extensive experience in their investors investing in real estate and syndication, okay? That way they can keep us compliant. We want to make sure that they've got reasonable fees. I look for low fee structure, okay? Higher fees does not actually mean better service, okay? So we want to make sure we strike that balance. And the ideal situation is that I'm working with one person out of their team and not just emailing customer service or calling customer service and like I get a potluck, like who's answering the phone. So with me, that custodian I work with, I have one person. They're my one-stop shop. They help me navigate all the different forms and filings. And that's who I'm connected with anytime I need to make an investment. All right, so there's several other roles that we can consider here to add to our dream team. These are generally the top 4. I'm going to cover a 5th one for you here in just a minute. But, you might need somebody who does life insurance too, right? Like you need to think through your particular situation and understand where are your gaps? What are you doing? Okay, remember, the only thing if you're going to do anything in these, in managing your dream team, we want you managing your finances, your goals, your risk, and timeline. That's it. Okay. We'll leave everything else to the experts. Okay. But so think through all those things you're doing. Let's hire in experts. Okay. Contract in experts to help round out your dream team. So how we're going to find these people? First, I would ask other investors. Okay. Ask investors that are kind of at your investing level too. Okay. So if you're at, say, 1 to 5 million net worth, and you're talking to somebody that's 25 to 30 million net worth, who's their accountant, that accountant has a totally different money management strategy than somebody who's going to be like, catering to more of the qualified purchaser, that 1 to 5 million qualified client to qualified purchaser level. Okay, so we want to make sure that, ask people that are kind of at your level of investing experience, at your net worth level, okay, because that's probably who you're going to get the best fit from. And as you level up, your team's going to change. Your strategy will change. You can also go to high net worth investing groups. Okay, there are several investing groups out there. Again, make sure that you are interviewing all these experts to make sure that you actually resonate with them, you click with them, that they meet your goals, your risk, and your timeline in your investment strategy. You can ask operators, okay, who they work with. Now, here's the thing. We don't do it, but I do know operators sometimes who get referral kickbacks from various groups. Okay, so they essentially get paid to give out that person's information. So take that, make sure, I would ask the question, if you ask an operator, hey, who do you use for taxes? Who do you use as a legal expert? Do you get a referral fee from them? Okay. We want to, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just means that we need to be on guard a little bit more and make sure that that relationship is sound. Okay. You can listen to high quality podcasts. A lot of people on podcasts will, either allude to the company that they work with, or they might actually drop a name. There's, you can glean a lot of context from some podcasts as well. Go to your local meetups, see who's showing up at your local meetup. For me, I don't necessarily believe that the best people you should be working with in these 4 areas actually are going to be at your local meetup. They could be, but it's not necessarily the case. You can look outside your local meetup. And then my least favorite way is doing a web search, okay? Because we can manipulate the algorithm, for marketing and stuff like that. But it is a viable way to gather up some names to kickstart your search. Right? Once you get your list of names, now you need to do some high-level vetting, just like you would if you had an operator. You're digging in on an operator before you invest. So make sure you're researching their background, their experience, understanding their credentials, and double-checking them, making sure they're current even. Ask for referrals and talk to those referrals. Okay, now if you ask them for referrals, ideally they're going to give people that they're satisfied with. But if you're part of an investing group, now you can go back to the investing group and say, hey, have you guys ever worked with X, Y, and Z, and get some, additional feedback and information. Make sure to interview multiple candidates. For each one of these positions, I would aim to, interview 2 to 3 people minimum. So a good way to get this done, I'm all about implementation, okay? Because I can give you all this information, and then a lot of people, what they do is they push pause, they end the webinar, and then they don't have a to-do list to execute on. So stepwise, what your roles are that you need to fill. Okay, so maybe you have an accountant right now, and the biggest thing that you need to fill right now is your legal. Okay, go find your lawyer. Spend August. Okay, we're recording this in August 2024. August is the month you're going to find your lawyer. Okay, you don't have a retirement, expert. You don't have a self-directed IRA, and you need that. September is the month you're gonna, solidify your self-directed IRA strategy. Okay, now it comes around in October. October, now it's time for me to level up my accountant. Okay, that's what I'm gonna spend time doing in October. So you don't have to do it all at once. Piecemeal it out. Okay. Last thing here, do the gut test. If you're talking to anybody, make sure that they're a good fit for your personality and not only your personality, your investing style, but your communication style. Um, okay. So, really, do that internal gut test. Like, do I know them? Do I love them? Do I trust them? Is there something off here? Uh, because that personality, piece that can, kind of make or break the relationship. All right. And remember, as you scale, your team will change. Okay. So you might consider adding additional positions to your dream team, like we discussed, whole life insurance. Maybe you have so many investments, you need a VA or an admin team to help you check, to keep track of your investments, to do your bookkeeping, to vet markets, operators, and deals. Maybe you need to outsource some of that. Maybe you need to be more in community with people. So just think about it. As you scale, you can add to your team. But those three critical positions, the fourth one that I highly, encourage you to add, especially if you have retirement accounts, those are the four to start with. Your financial expert, which if you don't have somebody in your back pocket, okay, if you don't have like a mentor or a coach, it should be you. Okay. Your tax, your legal, and then if you have retirement accounts, make sure you got your SDIRA custodian. Okay, now the fifth one that everybody should have, because if you're investing passively, you need to invest with operational experts. And these operational experts should have knowledge of the strategy that you're trying to invest in, be it multifamily, self-storage, car washes, real estate debt, right? They need to have the expertise and track record. They need to have the ability to secure lending and credit for high quality assets. They need to have the ability to pull investor capital, okay? And then they have to have that professional network, not only their team that's built out underneath them, but the other contracted team, like the legal, the accounting, the bookkeeping. They need to have all those of their experts in place for, next. And guys, we have a whole other webinar on operational experts. How do we vet them? How do we figure out all these things here that they need to have? All right, guys, we're recording this show live. We're about to open up the floor to questions. As always, my invitation to you is to make sure to check out passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. There you can get a free one-on-one call with me to discuss your investing goals in all things passive real estate. You can get access to our additional information in boot camps through our Passive Investing Made Simple series. And as always, priority access to our open deals. And if you're here live, don't go anywhere. Awesome. Well, guys, I know this is kind of like dry content. But I would love to know what you're struggling with. Okay. I only had a couple people it seemed like that were kind of doing this alongside me today. So tell me, who are you struggling with? What is the one, go to the chat box. Who's the one person that could level up your investing team if you actually added them to the team or you replaced that position? Okay. For me, 2 years ago, it was my accountant. I had to level up my accountant, and it's been like gangbusters, like ever since. It was amazing. I'm not sure I'd level up my lawyer right now, but that might be the next position. Last year I had to level up my retirement, custodian. I mean, I had a decent custodian, but I needed somebody that was able to kind of bob and weave with me a little bit more. So who is the one person here that could, really take your investing to the next level? All right. Well, I'm going to go with, since we don't have any additional, oh yeah, okay, cool. People were just typing. I was like, what's going on? Currently, I have a wealth manager, estate attorney, and self-directed IRA. Onboarding a new CPA would be great. Fantastic. Onboarding a new CPA. I am curious though, you have an estate attorney. is that estate attorney also, do they have a background in securities? Are they able to like review PPMs for you, especially like if you, to make sure that, they're structured properly? That would be kind of like the one thing that I had two things there, the estate attorney and then like the wealth manager, are they like actually able to help you, you know, kind of take a look at like, passive real estate? Ooh, yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Wealth manager is falling short. Yeah, I would kind of see that too. But yeah, so which one first? It sounds like the CPA, onboarding with a new CPA sounds like it might be first. And then like, because ideally we're in a position to where we can kind of hold down that ship, understanding our goals, risk, and timeline, right? I always encourage people to have a financial coach, have a financial mentor, maybe it's even financial fiduciary. That could be, a position as well. But, the wealth manager, we want to make sure, there's a lot of like conflict of interest in the area. All right. Do you guys have any questions? Otherwise, I'll give everybody back some valuable time today. I'll hang out here a couple more minutes for, questions. Oh, okay, somebody said thank you. Yeah, of course. You're welcome. Happy to help. Do I have a CPA recommendation? Um, I so I'll tell you who I've used. And my current CPA, she had a baby and she's not taking on any new clients. I love her to death. People that we've had on the show that you could check out that are like tax strategists, but don't necessarily do the accounting part of it or the tax filing part of it. Not, like I said, they can be two separate people. And sometimes that's even best, right? Because a lot of people that go for the whole thing, the person that's going to do the tax strategy, as well as file the 1040 for you, like all of the documents and everything, they charge a lot of money, right? Because they want to be doing a lot of the tax strategy. They actually want to scare you off from working with them on the 1040. That's the whole point. They don't want to do that anymore. They like the strategy. So then hire two people, because you could essentially get the tax strategist part, right? Get all that plan sussed out and then take it back to like, honestly, like H&R Block or something like that. And they could execute on the strategy, because when the strategy is written out, they know you're plugging in on a form. So I know that was really long-winded way to get to that. I've worked with KKOS. They have a legal and a tax side. I've worked with them before. I still use them for legal. I still really like my lawyer there. Taxes, I wasn't displeased with them, but the tax strategy, I needed a little bit more higher level. We've had on the podcast before Amanda Hahn. She's been on the podcast, I think, or masterclass 3 different times. So you can check out her recordings. We've also had Brandon Hall on from the Real Estate CPA. But again, I know Amanda doesn't even file 1040s anymore. And I think Brandon really charges a lot for it. But just know that you can tease those things apart. And I would really advise you to, especially if you're going to get a tax strategist. I need suggestions for each separately, filer and strategist. Okay, yeah. So I gave those suggestions to people to check out KKOS, which I believe will do both still. Amanda Hahn, who check out, she's with Keystone CPA. She does, I know for certain the tax, her and Brandon Hall will do the tax strategy. I think Brandon Hall's group will still also file a 1040. Amanda Hahn and her husband, Matt, they don't do the 1040, but they will work closely with your tax preparer, right? So when you level up one area, okay. So I did a webinar on the difference between a tax preparer, a CPA, and an enrolled agent. Okay, you guys can go back to YouTube, look up that webinar, okay, because that kind of helped people understand that sometimes what you're looking for is actually the tax strategy, and then you can just have a tax preparer. The tax preparer doesn't even have to have an accounting degree, okay? So that's a way, like if you're leveling up in one area, the tax strategy, you don't necessarily have to overpay for getting the 1040 filed, right? Now you can like level down and just get somebody who is a, tax preparer. Okay, so there's, a couple different ways there. Separate from the wealth manager, I also have a number of self-managed accounts with Vanguard and struggling with tax implications that would be relevant when pulling the monies out and redirecting in syndicated real estate deals. Do I have anybody that can help with that? Yep, same names there. I mean, the tax liability is the tax liability, right? But, somebody who is versed in tax strategy could look at your situation and go, hey, two things. One, if they're going retroactive, like if they're saying, what are some moves that you can do before the end of the year? Okay. They could say, well, based on your tax return from 2023, you had this many losses on your, 1040 that are banked. Maybe you had some capital losses, like in the stock market that you banked. You did some tax loss harvesting last year. Now you can liquidate X amount out of your stocks, and your losses from last year would wash out your gains from this year. Okay. So there's that. Another way that they could help you kind of plan is that they could look at your overall tax liability this year and look at how much space you have left in your tax bracket before you cross into the next tax bracket, and make some end of the year moves. But what's ideal is that you're actually meeting, August, September, October to plan for 2025. Okay. But most people are saying they're asking their accountants, what can I do from last year? But the tax strategist is actually going to lay out the plan of what you should do for next year. Okay. So, you kind of have to play catch up before you can get ahead. But those are the things that I like when I meet with my tax strategist every year. She'll be like, okay, what did you do this year? And how much, what do you have left as far as losses that, if you wanted to liquidate more assets or move, things from equity to debt, take out some stocks, here's how many, losses you have to offset that capital gains. Also, she'll look at where I'm at in the tax bracket and just say, hey, don't sell anything else this year, because if you do, you're going to bump up into the next tax bracket. Okay. And so right now, instead of paying 10 to 15% effective tax, you're going to be up into 15 to 30% effective tax. Okay. Those type of like little maneuvers. And like people from California, if you're just sitting there going, wow, I wish I was in the 10 to 15% effective tax. That's what the tax strategist can help you do, is lower your adjusted gross income. That way you are in those lower tax brackets. Awesome. What other questions do you guys have? The other thing, while we're waiting for more people to type in here, that I would say to this question around, tax strategy and pulling monies from the stock market to go into passive real estate deals. Part of it is what's the value of making that move, paying the tax bill in order to get into an asset that's less volatile, right? So I paid a huge tax bill in, I think, like 2017. Okay. I got laid off that year, so it was a little bit lower than it could have been, but I went ahead and paid a huge tax bill just to get off the Wall Street roller coaster, honestly. And it was a hit. I was okay with it. And I mean, real estate has volatility too, so I'm not going to say that you don't. Obviously, like the last couple of years, we've seen volatility in real estate, but it's so much more slow moving than the stock market is. So sometimes you have to look at, our taxes technically are low across the board right now. I believe that they're only going to be going up. I wanted to go ahead and like take those chips off the table, get out of the Wall Street casino, and that was worth its weight in gold to me. So part of it is the math. Okay. Tax benefits, I think, should be the icing on the cake. At the closer you get to retirement, of course, you want to have that strategy to get everything over, get your taxes paid before you retire, because you don't want to, trigger provisional income. So if you've got a lot of things on the Roth side of things, you're not going to trigger provisional income. But yeah, think about that question. Like, what is it worth it to you to kind of get at least take some of your chips off the table? Get them out of the Wall Street casino. Did I basically double the liability to cover the penalty to take chips off the table? Actually, yeah, yes and no. I took a penalty by withdrawing out of my retirement accounts. It wasn't that much. So, I want to say I probably had like 80 grand in that account. Yeah, I know. I think you're like, I'm pondering this. For me, this is me. This is not financial advice, guys. For me, I had 80 grand in there, which it's no small sum of money, but all I was going to do was make more. And I was like, if I pay the penalty and take this all now, okay, while I'm laid off, unemployed, so essentially my income had gone away. If we played our chips right, I take this money now, I pay the taxes, pay the penalty, okay? The money that I can make by taking bets on myself in real estate and in private and in placement investing, I was going to blow past that, what I could make with it being locked up in my IRA. Now I had it, guys, this is just me, my thought process. We can blow holes in it all day long. But I was like, now the money is in my control. Uncle Sam can't take it away from me. They can't change the rules on me. It's not locked up. Remember, your money in your IRA accounts, it is not your money. For benefit of, it's in a trustee account. Okay. And I knew I like blew past. I mean, like within like a year and a half, I had already made up that money plus. And then I was off to the races. And now, instead of, yes, I could have moved all that into a self-directed IRA account. I could have invested in the self-directed IRA account, bought real estate. I could have let it all like grow in the self-directed IRA account. Remember, I couldn't take advantages of depreciation. Okay. And all those tax benefits, it's locked up in the IRA, but I could have grown millions of dollars in my IRA account, but getting it out, I'm still paying taxes. Okay. So my required minimum distribution was still only going to be maxed, out at like, or my, standard deduction was probably, maybe in retirement going to be like $30,000 or $40,000 by the time I retired. Okay. I wanted more money than that. And so it was, they're going to get their tax bill. Okay. Now, Roth IRA accounts, kind of a different beast. All right. But for me, it was worthwhile. If I wanted to, put it back in my Roth IRA, I could, but yeah, that's why I did it. But also remember, I didn't have a paycheck. So that was income coming into me, but it didn't bump me up into another tax bracket. Yeah, whether you pay money now to take it out, you're gonna pay taxes if you have money in it. And this is where I talk a lot in my book, Money for Tomorrow, about provisional income. Okay. You can have cash flow coming out of a life insurance policy that doesn't trigger provisional income. Money coming out of your Roth IRA does not trigger provisional income. And then money that you take out of your IRA, your traditional IRA, that's below your standard deduction, that does not trigger provisional income. Anything above that does. So whether you liquidate now, pay the tax bill now, or pay the tax bill later after that all grew, right? Or maybe you let it grow and then you start doing Roth conversions, which triggers a tax bill. They're going to get the taxes, but is the taxes going to be on $100,000 or $1 million or $10 million, right? They want you to take the money out of the IRA accounts. That's why they require minimum distribution. They want that money coming out of there and making you get paid taxes on it. Like, that's how they make money. Okay. Okay. I know, probably not like information that everybody wants to hear. Or it's the information that you need to hear. I think I had an accountant come on about a year ago, and they said that if you had more than $500,000 in your traditional retirement account, you essentially have an oncoming tax bill that you don't really know about. So again, that is a separate team member to help you do that. So don't take what I say and go do it. Talk to your tax strategist and figure out the best way to get that done. All right, guys, I hope this was useful. What did you love? What would you have loved to seen? I always love asking that question because it helps me tailor the content to you, especially for future sessions. And if you have any last minute questions, let's get those on the board. Otherwise, we'll wrap up here in about a minute. And I know a lot of you are like, I'm working, but yes, feedback is always fantastic. Okay. One, it lets me know that you're listening, that you're engaged. But two, if there's something that you'd love to see, if you don't ever tell me, I never know. All right, guys, I don't have any more questions coming in. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to spend it here with me. Passingheaven.com hoodie. It's a jacket. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's my little uniform when I'm on these things. Oh yeah, you're welcome. If you guys have like additional feedback, or if you wanted to, ping me outside of the webinar today, you can hit me up at Whitney@passiveinvesting.com. Otherwise, we will see you on the boot camp here in a month, and then our masterclass next week. You guys take care. Thank you so much for spending your time with me here today.